Millions of years ago, Australia was part of a large landmass known as Gondwana, along with New Zealand, Antarctica, Africa, India, South America, and Madagascar. Over long periods of time, Gondwana separated. Australia and New Guinea split from Antarctica and began to drift in a northeasterly direction. By this stage, Australia was almost completely covered with rainforests. As it continued to drift north, the climate became drier and warmer. As a result, the forest composition changed. Most of the rainforests perished, as some rainforest plants disappeared, and plants that were more accustomed to the warmer climate grew instead. Rainforests survived mainly in the cool and wet mountain regions along the east and southeast coast of Australia. They are a reminder of how Australia looked millions of years ago. We can think of them as the dinosaurs of the plant world. Today, only about 5% of Australia is covered with forests, mostly around the edges of the continent. These forest areas are important ecosystems, supporting large varieties of plant and animal species. All forests can be divided into 3 sections: the canopy, the understory, and the forest floor. There are a number of forest types in Australia that are quite diverse in their appearances and compositions. Factors that distinguish different forest types include the amount of rainfall, temperature, altitude, quality of soil, canopy density, tree height, common tree species, and numbers of plant layers. These factors can be used to classify forests in different ways. Mangrove forests, for example, are so named because the mangrove is the dominant tree species. This film identifies forests by the density of their canopies. If you take a walk through an open canopy forest, you will notice that the trees grow far apart and that a large amount of sunlight reaches through the treetops to the forest floor. Around 30 to 70% of light is blocked out by the canopy. A walk through a closed canopy forest will prove to be much darker, as the canopy blocks out over 70% of the sun. Open canopy forests are the most commonly occurring forests in Australia. In fact, if asked to describe Australian forests, most people would begin by describing open canopy forests. This may be because the main type of trees that grow in open canopy forests are eucalyptus species, most of which are unique to Australia. Open canopy forests are what we know as the bush. Open canopy forests are also known as sclerophyll forests, meaning hard-leaved forests, because their vegetation is made up of plants with hard and often short and spiky leaves. This hardness stems from a substance called lignin, which prevents leaves from wilting in the heat of dry climate areas. Eucalyptus trees are hard-leaved trees. There are around 900 species of eucalyptus trees in the Australian bush. They are also known as gum trees because they excrete a gum-like sap. Sclerophyll forests may be either dry or wet, depending on the amount of rainfall in the region. Dry sclerophyll forests have limited rainfall ranging from 500 to 1,000 millimetres per year. More than half of Australia's native forests are dry sclerophyll forests, growing in altitudes of 300 to 1,300 metres in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, and Western Australia. The vast array of wild flowering plants, arid soils, and dry foliage of trees gives this forest type a uniquely Australian look. The canopy is made up of eucalypt trees and grows to a height of 10 to 30 metres. It is home to numerous bird and animal species. Hardleaf plants grow in the understory, which is particularly colourful in spring when the many wildflowers, the banksias, wattles and grevilleas, blossom and bloom. Fallen bits of tree cover the forest floor, as well as many types of grasses and shrubs. Wet sclerophyll forests can be found in areas of high rainfall of 850 to 2,000 millimetres annually in altitudes of below 500 to 1,400 metres in moist gullies and southerly slopes of mountain ranges. Only 4% of Australia's forests are wet sclerophyll forests, occurring in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, and also in southwest Western Australia. The canopy in these spectacular forests also consists of eucalypt trees, but the canopy height will often far exceed 30 metres. In 1872, a mountain ash was found measuring 150 metres tall. Unfortunately, it was cut down so it could be measured. Today, there are mountain ash trees in Victoria and Tasmania that stand just over 95 metres tall, which, if we leave them to grow, may just reach that same incredible height of 150 metres within a few hundred years. In New South Wales, the tallest tree is a flooded gum in the Myall Lakes National Park. Known as the grandis, it has grown to a height of over 84 metres and a diameter of nearly 3 metres. Although these are still open canopy forests, the increase in the amount of rainfall and relatively fertile soils makes them much moister and cooler. This shows in the partially soft-leaved understory, where rainforest species like ferns share the space with shrubs and small trees. Leaf litter, twigs, branches and bark of continuously shedding eucalyptus trees cover the forest floor. These decompose into litter, which is a great source of nutrients for all growing plants in the forest. Closed canopy forests are rainforests, which require high annual rainfall. Rainforests cover only about 0.3% of the continent. The physical environment in which they exist has a major influence on their characteristics. There are 4 main types of rainforests in the world, all of which also exist in Australia. These are tropical, subtropical, warm temperate, and cool temperate rainforests. Tropical rainforests exist in warm climates near the equator, in areas where the rainfall is over 2,000 millimetres per year. Small patches of tropical monsoon rainforests exist along the coast of northern Australia, but the Wet Tropics World Heritage Area of Far North Queensland is the largest area of tropical rainforests in Australia, and the oldest rainforest in the world. Parts of this area are known as the Daintree. This rainforest has been given World Heritage status by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, known as UNESCO. It is an exceptional award as it recognizes the importance and outstanding value of this forest for all of humanity, not just Australians. Despite covering only a tiny fraction of Australia, the Wet Tropics Heritage Area inhabits large numbers of plant and animal species. This area has an average of 120 days of rain per year, and an average temperature of 28 degrees Celsius. Walking through a tropical rainforest is a magical experience. Gigantic trees tower like cathedrals over lush green ferns and palm trees. Huge buttress roots support and anchor mammoth trees. If a tree is leaning a certain way, the buttress root will grow on the opposite side, to balance the weight and prevent the tree from falling over. Trunks are covered with carpets of mosses and lichens. Strangler figs twist and turn like ropes around ancient trees. Vines dangle here and there. Like a huge blanket, the thick canopy lays over the forest, preventing over 70% of sunlight from ever reaching the forest floor. The canopy is home to the only 2 types of tree kangaroo, which only live in these tropical rainforests of Australia. These curious marsupials feed on fruit and leaves of rainforest trees. Hundreds of bird species inhabit the tropical rainforest canopy, including the paradise and sacred kingfisher, blue-winged kookaburra, pied imperial and emerald pigeon, and eclectus parrot. Plants called epiphytes live on the trunks of large trees in the understory. Epiphytes include mosses, lichens, orchids, staghorns, and bird's nest ferns. By hitching a free ride on tall trees, these peculiar plants have better access to sunlight and rain. Many epiphytes have cup-like rosettes of overlapping leaves, specifically shaped so they can catch light, rain, water runoff, and falling leaves from the tree they live on. The gathering leaves will rot, producing a vital nutrient called humus. The understory in tropical rainforests is thickly overgrown with huge tree ferns and palms. Ferns have been growing in Australia for about 275 million years, and look pretty much the same they did those many years ago. The fan palm is one of the most distinctive palms in the wet tropics. It has a central trunk and grows to over 6 meters. Its crown of palmate leaves can be up to 2 meters wide. The understory provides habitat for beetles, spiders, butterflies, and many other insects. The forest floor is dark and wet. Rotting tree litter and dead tree trunks conceal the soil on the ground. Fungi, also found on the forest floor, do not need sunlight to survive. They feed on dead or living plants and dead animals, breaking them down into nutrients for reuse by other living things. Fungi are a vital part of the rainforest's recycling process. Ground birds such as the buff-banded rail and the orange-footed scrubfowl roam around these lowest parts of the forest in search of food and leaf litter to make nesting mounds. A particularly rare and important animal is the southern cassowary. Cassowaries are flightless birds that roam through the forest feeding on fruit of rainforest trees. The cassowary is another remnant of the Gondwana years, and it is in danger of becoming extinct. This would be highly regrettable, not just for us humans, but in particular for the plants of the forest. By eating forest fruit and excreting the seeds throughout the rainforest, cassowaries ensure the reproduction and spread of 150 species of trees in the wet tropics. The seeds of these trees are either too large for any other animal to consume, or are toxic, and only the cassowary can safely eat them. This is why the cassowary is often regarded as a keystone species of the tropical rainforest. Tree seedlings emerging from seed pods are future trees, waiting for their chance to grow into big trees. The small future trees grow at a very slow rate. When a nearby tree crashes to the ground due to old age or strong winds, the tree will leave a gap in the canopy, providing a patch of sunlight on the forest floor. This is the chance the small seedling trees have been waiting for. Competition in the rainforest is fierce. Every seedling tree in the new sunny patch will begin to grow very quickly, competing with the other seedlings to take the place of the big old fallen tree. Only the strongest seedlings will survive. Many will not make it. Water plays an important role in the rainforest. Without it, the tropical rainforests would not survive. The wet tropics area of North Queensland is the wettest area in Australia. The large amount of rain that falls on the forest forms rivers and creeks and is soaked up by plants and the ground, which acts as a sponge. In the dry season, some of the stored water is released, and the creeks and rivers contain water all year round. Many fish, frogs and turtles live in these waters, and they are also home of the notorious estuarine crocodile, also known as saltwater crocodile. Subtropical rainforests are generally found where the rainfall is more than 1,300 millimeters annually along the coast and ranges of northern and eastern Australia, including Queensland and northern New South Wales. A good example of subtropical rainforest is the Nightcap National Park, close to the Queensland border in New South Wales. The Nightcap National Park is part of the Central Eastern Rainforest Reserves, which, because of its outstanding natural universal values, was listed as World Heritage in 1986. Although similar to tropical rainforests, subtropical rainforests have slightly fewer species of plants and animals. The canopy, 20 to 40 meters tall, is almost as dense as in a tropical rainforest and can be multi-layered. A great variety of trees fills out the canopy. The trees of subtropical rainforests have a wide range of leaf sizes, some as big as 30 centimeters in length. Underneath the magnificent subtropical canopy are a number of different types of palm trees, such as bungalow, walking stick, and cabbage tree palms, as well as woody vines and many kinds of epiphytes. Shrubs, saplings, ferns, and large-leaved herbs are abundant in the understory. Here the forest is extravagantly green, moist, and humid. While they are not quite as wet as tropical rainforests, subtropical rainforests also rely on large amounts of rain for survival. Rainforests are known for their many waterfalls and rocky terrains. These are perfect breeding and feeding grounds for insects, amphibians, and reptiles. Large buttress roots are also common in subtropical rainforests, as are strangler species, including strangler figs. Strangler figs grow from seeds that are dropped by birds in the high branches of trees. The little strands of fig that are thrown down will eventually engulf the entire tree, which will die, leaving the fig in its place. The forest floor is covered with logs, branches, twigs, leaf litter, and fungi. The brush turkey scavenges around the forest floor looking for food and leaf litter for making nests. Leeches can be found in all 4 rainforest types in Australia. They live on the blood that they suck out of the bodies of host animals, including humans. While they are irritating to humans, leeches are not dangerous. Warm temperate rainforests grow in regions where there is an annual rainfall of around 1,200 millimeters, in higher altitudes, less fertile soils, and cooler climates than subtropical rainforests. This rainforest type occurs in southern Queensland on the Lamington Plateau and stretches through New South Wales along the Great Dividing Range to Batemans Bay and South Gippsland in Victoria. Warm temperate rainforests look much more orderly and uniform than subtropical rainforests, and are simpler in structure, comprising of less plant and animal species. The even canopy grows to a height of around 20 meters, and consists of trees such as coachwood, lily-pilly, and sassafras. These trees have slightly smaller leaf sizes than subtropical rainforest trees, because they have better access to sunlight and rain. The understory typically includes scattered saplings, shrubs, and palm trees. Herbs and large tree ferns are also frequent. Epiphytes are rare but not completely absent. Lacking buttress roots, tree trunks are most often slender and uniform in appearance, covered with mosses and distinct circular-shaped whitish lichens. Cool temperate rainforests grow in cooler climates of southeastern Australia, where there is an annual rainfall of about 1,750 millimetres in altitudes over 900 metres. The main areas of cool temperate rainforests are in Victoria and Tasmania, but very small stands of this forest type can be found in New South Wales and southern Queensland. The canopy height may vary from 10 metres on ridges to 40 metres or even higher in sheltered gullies. The ancient trees that grow in these forests have evolved from trees growing on Gondwana, many years before eucalypts and acacias evolved. Pencil, Huon and Kingbilly pines, as well as sassafras, myrtle, Antarctic and southern beech trees are common ancients that provide a direct link between Australia, New Zealand, South America and Antarctica. Cool temperate rainforests are moist, luxuriantly green and quite cold. These climates are not suitable for large epiphytes and are much too cold for palm trees. Mosses and lichens almost entirely cover trees and rocks. Vines are thin and wiry. The ground is extremely overgrown with various shrubs and grasses, as well as ground and tree ferns. There are around 400 different kinds of ferns in Australia. They can be either soft-leaved or hard or rough-leaved, and may be tall tree ferns or short ground ferns. Soft-leaved ferns, like the slender tree fern, which is very rare, can grow to 20 metres in height. Within weeks of a fire, ferns are able to grow new frond covers. Their survival after fire is likely to influence the survival of other plants and animals that depend on the moist microclimate they create beneath their fronds. In cool temperate rainforests, the forest floor is dappled with an assortment of brightly coloured fungi. It has been estimated that only 10% of fungi found in Australia has been named. Most of Australia's cool temperate rainforests have been cleared, therefore existing only in small stands of no more than 100 hectares. These stands are often mixed with or bordering on wet sclerophyll forests. The overlap of two forest types is called mixed forest. The world's tallest flowering plants, majestic eucalypts like mountain ash and stringy barks, find their home in the wet sclerophyll and cool temperate mixed forests. Any tree that is over 85 metres tall is considered to be a giant tree. The tallest giant of Tasmania's forests is a 97-metre mountain ash. These eucalypt trees grow high above an understory of soft-leaved rainforest species, and if left undisturbed, this mixed forest may grow into stands of pure cool temperate rainforest over hundreds of years. All of the trees in the forest, present trees, future trees, and past trees, no matter how old they are important and contribute to the forest as a whole. The life cycle of a tree is much like the life cycle of a human being. It sprouts from seedling, slowly grows to adult maturity, and eventually dies. The time it takes to grow to maturity depends on the species of the tree and the environment they live in. At every stage, the tree is important to the forest ecosystem, even once it has died. As a dead tree soaks up water, it rots and is slowly broken down by tiny microorganisms. The decaying tree supports ferns, fungi, mosses and seedlings. The branches and stump of the fallen tree also provide a good home for many animals, including snakes. Many animals rely on the hollows of trees for shelter and safety. This is why old hollow trees are also called habitat trees and are very important for all life in the forest. Trees generally do not develop hollows until they are over 100 years old. Large hollows can take many more 100 years to develop. Hollows are a compelling reason for forests to be left as they are. Forests that have never been logged, cleared or regrown are called old-growth forests. These vital forests contain trees at many stages of growth, creating a large range of habitats. When old-growth forests are cleared, it may take 1,500 to 2,500 years for them to regrow enough to provide that same extraordinary diversity. Australia's forests are of exceptional value. Apart from creating habitat for hundreds of plant and animal species, forests, particularly rainforests, play an important role in regulating and cooling the Earth's atmosphere. In an age where climate change and global warming are threatening the existence of life on Earth, forests are vital in protecting our future on this beautiful planet. There are many reasons why these magnificent ecosystems need to be looked after and protected. As well as being climate regulators, forests store and release large amounts of water. Indeed, much of the water used by Australians comes from forests. The debate on how Australia's forests should be managed is an important one that requires sensible stewardship and sustainable solutions. Sooner rather than later.